Welcome in, everybody. Happy Wednesday to Wednesday to everybody out there at San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. John and Jim will take over then. We got some giveaways today. Aztecs football tickets playing this weekend at Snapdragon Stadium against San Jose State, and also a 4-pack of family tickets out to SeaWorld San Diego for their holiday season, their Christmas decorations and everything out at SeaWorld San Diego. But we do start the show on kind of a somber note today, and we're going to be talking with Coach Kentera in a little bit. Coming up at 12:30, our fantasy football expert Stan Lazinski is going to be jumping on at 1:30. But we start off with the news from this morning that Randy Jones passed away. He was 75 years old, one of the best pitchers in Padres history. I mean, the 1976 National League Cy Young winner, the first Padres pitcher ever to win the Cy Young. On a year, he went 22-14, led the league in ERA at 2.74, had 25 complete games, 315 innings pitched. He was an absolute workhorse, man. You don't see those types of numbers anymore, but Randy Jones pitched different. He wanted to get out of the game so he can go get a steak as quick as possible. Ernie Martinez has told that story before, but Randy Jones was much bigger impact off the field than I would say he was on the field. Yes, he was a legendary Padres pitcher, but Randy Jones was one of those personalities that stuck around the Padres as an ambassador for a long time. I got to meet Randy a couple of times in the Padres press box, and the one story I'll share from him that is one of the more memorable moments of my time covering San Diego sports. I was in the press box at Petco Park, sitting next to Mike Costa and Bernie Wilson. And the three of us were chatting, kind of talking about the Padres season. This was before they got good. So 7 or 8 years ago, before the new era of Padres baseball. And we were actually talking about how dilapidated the crowd is. There was nobody there at the game. And all of a sudden the door opens up behind us and someone walks through and you just hear two words come out of his mouth. He says, "Hey, a-holes." And two people turn around. Mike Costa and Bernie Wilson both go, "Yeah?" And Bernie was like, "Oh, I wasn't talking to either of you, but it actually works for both of you." That's the type of guy Randy Jones was. He was always funny. He was always cracking a joke. He came, sat down and talked with us for 20 minutes. And Randy, he was great, man. He was hilarious. He was an excellent pitcher. The Padres lost an all-time great today. And Randy Jones at 75 years old passed away. And that's what we'll talk to Coach Kentera about, someone who knew him incredibly well. But Randy Jones was a constant light at Petco Park and gone too soon, man. Escondido native also.
Yeah, 100%. I never got the honor of meeting him, but I'm excited to talk to Coach because I was texting with him this morning. He's got some great stories. I worked with him for a long time. So yeah, rest in peace to a legend, and he'll be forever missed.
Known as the junk man, Randy Jones. He wasn't going to overpower you. He wasn't going to throw 95 miles an hour.
He's going to make you look bad though.
He would make you look bad, and he had tons of movement on the ball. He one of his records, I think it was 75 pitches to pitch a complete game, which was insane when you think about the 110 pitches or so it takes pitchers now. But Randy Jones, an icon, man, one of the OG Padres, one of the best Padres ever. If you missed the news, he passed away this morning at 75. We'll talk to Coach Kentera about that in a little bit. We also got the big three coming up, but let's sit down for a second on that Aztecs basketball game from last night at Viejas Arena. So we can set the table and tell you how dramatic it is and everything, and we'll do that. Coming into the game, San Diego State was number 30 in KenPom. Coming into the game, Troy was number 136. This is one of those losses that can and probably will anchor down San Diego State in terms of the metrics all season long. Doesn't matter that happened in the third game of the season. Doesn't matter that Troy played their best basketball I've seen from Troy in a long time, including their NCAA championship run last year, where they played really well against Kentucky. So you look at Troy, you look at San Diego State. Going into this game, that was one of those landmines on the early college basketball schedule that if you step on it, if you F around and find out, it could really hurt you later in the season. And that's exactly what happened. San Diego State was sloppy with the basketball. They turned it over a bunch. They got out rebounded by a Troy team that was physically inferior to them. But can we take a second and give Troy a little bit of credit in that game? Because my God, I was watching from courtside, and the more I was watching, the more I was like, holy crap, this Troy team is playing out of its mind right now.
Well, you had a combination of Troy. You got to give them credit. I mean, they play 8 guys, and they were shooting the lights out, jumped on the Aztecs in the first half, and the Aztecs tied at halftime, kind of feel like, all right, they're going to take over. A little bit of a slow start, maybe got caught looking ahead to next week with all the big matchups. And they kept fighting, and it was Now, when the Aztecs tied the game with the half court shot, you're going, oh, I think in overtime, all the momentum at home, and the fact that they had 3 guys foul out for Troy and they were still able to do that, it was very impressive. You got to, in the words of Mike Schilt, you got to tip your cap to him. I mean, that they Dowd. There was a lot of mistakes in that game. It felt like the Aztecs were right now have so many new faces and they're trying to mess around with lineups. And I kind of talked about this yesterday on air about how you want to get those lineups right for Michigan and some of the big matchups next week. Unfortunately, they kind of messed around with the lineups a little too much probably and messed around and lost this game yesterday. There was a lot of moments in that game. There were some missed free throws at the end. There was
missed free throws throughout. That's where the game was lost, in my opinion, for San Diego State.
Yeah, the illegal screen on Magoon Guath. Now,
questionable call.
Very questionable call. I didn't agree with that. And it felt like they were just sluggish and thought that they were kind of going to come out on top. And that's what I think everyone thought when you're watching the game. And Troy came in there and just lit the world on fire. I was a little confused, honestly, why Dowd, who had 25 points and 19 boards,
25 and 19. He was incredible last night.
Like, why? Listen, I'm not questioning Coach Dutcher. He knows way more basketball than I could ever understand. But it was interesting why you're not going with the box and one, or you're not doubling and trapping him every time he touched the ball, because he was the guy, the catalyst for why they scored so many points and was really getting after the Aztecs defensively and offensively. It was a bad night, frustrating. Obviously, early in the season, there's a lot of room for them to grow, but yes, not a great loss, not a good loss heading into next week in an important tournament.
It's the best and worst part about college basketball. It's the best because stuff like this happens all the time in college basketball. You'll see a team. It's happened a bunch already in the early college basketball season. You just always hope it's not your team, but you see these lopsided results where a team is way down in the hundreds in KenPom or the net rankings or however you want to look at it, and a team that's way up there. And the only benefit San Diego State has playing in that game is if they win that game by 25 points. That's the only way.
The spread was 15.5 going into it.
Right. That's the only way it really helps their metrics. But Dutcher talked about it earlier this week in availability. He said, yeah, Troy's going to challenge us because their style of play is not a style of play we're going to see a whole lot of. And it's like the one time on the schedule this year, you're going to see a team that plays more aggressive defensively than San Diego State. They're jumping in front of everything. They're pressing the entire game. They're trying to force turnovers every time an Aztecs player touches the ball. And it got in the Aztecs' head. Look,
and easy transition points going back the other way.
Such easy yes. And there are so many things San Diego State can take away from this game. And not a whole lot of it's positive. I mean, you got out rebounded by a team where no one in their starting lineup was as tall as 3 of the guys you start. So that's problem number 1. Problem number 2 is San Diego State makes free throws. This isn't even a ball game. And that's a huge issue for the Aztecs. Now, if you would have told me in a game where Magoon Guath and Miles Bird both go over 20 points and BJ Davis off the bench gives you 15, I'm thinking there's no way the Aztecs lose a game like that. But that's with the assumption that San Diego State's defense does what San Diego State's defense always does, which is at Viejas Arena, they hold opponents under 70.
And it felt lax to when they got the 4-point lead in overtime twice, 2 different times. Yeah. Bird hits that huge 3 there, coming up at the top of the wing. It felt like the Aztecs were just going to kind of come through and win it. And it just, again, you got to really give Troy a lot of credit. They just kind of hung around. You kind of let a team that has no business being on the floor with you hang around. And then they made some big shots down the stretch. Hoping for the Aztecs, Troy becomes really good. And we look at that loss as still a bad loss, but maybe they can help you out in the rankings later on. But it magnifies next week and how the Aztecs really need to get back against Michigan and show people why everyone in San Diego is high on this team heading into the season.
Yeah, I don't know that my full season long thoughts about these Aztecs have changed because of last night.
No.
They got a ton to work on. Now, essentially what this does mean is the game against Michigan, now all it is an opportunity to erase the game against Troy. It doesn't really, if you win it, which you kind of need to win it now, if you beat Michigan, it isn't that huge skyrocket that would help you out like Houston was a year ago. This is just a giant eraser where you take the Troy game off of the schedule. And that's what San Diego State needs to do. In fact, John Rothstein had a tweet up who covers college basketball for CBS saying San Diego State's put themselves in a situation where they probably need to win 2 games in Vegas against this elite competition to get rid of what just happened last night.
Listen, Dutcher and the coaching staff can get it done. They just got to go handle it next week.
That being said, that was an amazing college basketball game last night. If you had the privilege of being inside Viejas Arena last night, the energy was outrageous. I know the Aztecs lost, and that's a bad thing, and it is a very bad thing. I'm not trying to put any sort of butter on it, but what a fun environment for a basketball game. What a great game. It was very March Madness feeling with the half quarter, with the chaos, with guys who don't look like they belong on the court with the Aztecs playing the games of their life. It was just a blast. It's the reason I love college basketball so much, because that can happen. It just sucks when it happens to your team. All right, let's get to the big three here. Maybe a big two because we talk too long, but we do that sometimes. Sammy, go ahead, smash it.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? Coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big Three.
If you want to watch the show, you can at San Diego Sports 760 on YouTube, at Fletch and Sammy on X. Our buddy Jerry on YouTube saying, hey, fellas. Hi, Jerry.
What's up, man?
How are you? And Rich on YouTube saying, last night was insane at Viejas. I've never booed the refs so much in one game. I was surprised to see Fletch there so late. I wasn't leaving, man. When that thing was 38-38 at half, I was having so much fun watching that game. There was no shot I was leaving that one. It was a blast, but just not the result we're looking for. All right, Sammy, where are we going?
We're going to the National Football League. So Shedeur Sanders is confirmed. He's QB1 Sunday in Vegas. Vegas is the Raiders currently a 4-point favorite in the game. A, how do we think he's going to fare? But number two, if he plays well, is there a quarterback debate? Would you go Shedeur the rest of the year, even if he doesn't play well? Or do you think it's Dylan Gabriel's job once he's back next week from an injury?
They will probably give it to Dylan Gabriel if he's healthy enough for next week. Now, unless Shedeur goes out there, and let's be honest, the perfect landing spot for him, perfect opportunity for him to come out against a bad Raiders defense and say, this is why I should have been drafted much higher than I was. But I don't know if that's what you should expect from Shedeur Sanders. I really don't. Look, Dylan Gabriel hasn't been awful. He hasn't been quite as bad as we all thought he was. He hasn't been great, but he hasn't been awful.
He ain't a franchise quarterback.
No, but is Shedeur Sanders?
He's certainly got a better chance to be a franchise quarterback than Dylan Gabriel does.
The guy that went 3 for 12, the guy that had the worst intentional grounding we've seen all year.
He came in
sure. We can make excuses all day long, but
it's not an excuse. Okay. A divisional matchup. He comes in against the Ravens, a blitz-happy defense. He comes in the second half in a tight game, by the way. Throws a bad pick. Let's not act like the Browns have a plethora of weapons that are just out here and he can't get it done. He also, to be fair to Shedeur, had a really nice about 15-yard completion over the middle on the final drive. The offensive line was abysmal. I'm not saying he wasn't good in the game, so I'm not making excuses for him, but let's give Shedeur a full week of practice. Kevin Stefanski said after the game, Shedeur Sanders had never taken a first-team rep, which is a massive indictment on the Browns for the fact that a guy who you drafted and you knew at some point this season would probably be getting some looks, never got a first-team rep in practice. I'm excited to see what he can do. The Raiders' defense outside of Max Crosby is nothing that's going to be too scary for the Browns. I think this is a good spot for Shedeur. If I'm the Browns, I'm letting Shedeur finish the season. Dylan Gabriel, with all due respect, is not a franchise quarterback.
Shedeur may be the same as Dylan Gabriel.
Exactly, and if Shedeur isn't, then you're picking at the top of the draft and you're going to get a quarterback. But what's going to happen if you go back to Dylan Gabriel? Then all offseason, the question is this. A, do we draft a quarterback for the Browns? And number two, what do you have with Shedeur? Because you don't know, because you haven't let him play. If the only limited action he gets to play is a half against the Baltimore Ravens and one game against the Las Vegas Raiders, you don't know what you have in him.
Right, but if Dylan Gabriel never would have gotten concussed, you wouldn't know all season.
Right,
but there's a reason Shedeur hadn't gotten any reps with the first team.
But Dylan Gabriel...
The Cleveland Browns think Dylan Gabriel is better than Shedeur Sanders.
Which is insane to me.
Well, that's what they think. They get paid a lot of money.
We don't know if they think that.
We don't get paid anything to think.
Politics-wise, you drafted him 2 rounds later, so you can't start Shedeur Sanders over Dylan Gabriel.
I don't think that NFL teams deal nearly as much in the politics of all that as we think they do.
But they're gonna get a question from the media every time.
Yeah, but Shedeur dropped to the 5th round because Shedeur is not as talented as the rest of the quarterbacks. That's what NFL teams are telling you.
No. Shedeur dropped to the 5th round because he's got his dad who runs his mouth a lot. People didn't want to deal with the ego and the whole he needs to come in.
If Shedeur was talented enough, he would have been the first overall pick.
You think Dylan Gabriel's more talented than Shedeur Sanders?
We don't know. Dylan Gabriel played at a better school than Shedeur Sanders.
Exactly. So he had way more talent around him. He had superstar receivers. He had one of the best offensive lines in football. And then when he played one of the best defenses in football last year in Ohio State, he was awful in that game.
I think that NFL teams take it a little more seriously than just what someone's dad says. If Shedeur Sanders had the biggest talent in the world, he would be the number 1 overall pick last year. I think NFL teams told you exactly what they think about it.
But you don't think that his dad and the whole lead up to that had something to do with why he fell to the 5th round?
If he was more talented, he would have gone earlier.
But all we've heard is that he blew off draft processes.
Sure, that's what the media is telling us. That's what, his music was too loud. He was wearing too much cologne. That all sounds like a lot of...
They're telling you that's why he dropped, not because of his
talent. You don't think that's a little bit of a smear campaign?
Exactly.
Because the public loves the guy? Because the public wanted him to be in the first round?
Who said the public loves Shedeur Sanders?
I think going into that, he was one of the most hyped names in all of football.
Okay, but Dillon Gabriel, there is no way you can watch what Dillon Gabriel's done this year. He hasn't been bad, but there's nothing that Dillon Gabriel has done on the offense of the Cleveland Browns to suggest that he is going to be a franchise quarterback. So why not see what you have in Shedeur Sanders? Give him some runway. Give him some leeway. You shouldn't have even been starting Joe Flacco to begin with in the season. You should have let the two kids play and then see if you need to draft a quarterback next year. Or Shedeur Sanders pops and you're going, oh, damn, we just had one of the biggest value draft picks of all time in the 5th round, possible franchise quarterback.
You care a lot about the Cleveland Browns.
I don't care about the Cleveland Browns. I care about a organization that is so poorly run, giving a guy a shot who, by all accounts, ever since the NFL draft process, handled things right in Shedeur Sanders. We got to give the guy some love when he does things right.
I mean, the locker room fake talking is a little crazy.
You don't want to see if Shedeur Sanders can play?
Of course I do.
If you were coaching the Cleveland Browns, you'd rather throw Dillon Gabriel out there.
I think that Dillon Gabriel won the job in the preseason. I think if he never would have gotten concussed, he never would have gotten benched.
But he didn't win the job in the preseason. Joe Flacco, he was
won
drafted,
the job over Shedeur Sanders, one backup quarterback job.
Again, because he was drafted 2 rounds before.
Sure. All right. We ran out of time. We spent 9 minutes talking about Shedeur Sanders. It is San Diego Sports 760. Quick break here. We're going to give away SeaWorld tickets this hour, so don't go anywhere. Coming up next, big story or big 3, number 2 and 3. Next, San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. John and Jim will take over then. A couple of comments that we got coming in on YouTube here from our buddy Jay Silf saying, afternoon, gents. Much love and respect to the great number 35, Randall Leo Jones, Vio con Dios, old friend. Yeah, we started the show today talking about Randy Jones. He will be missed, man. If you missed the news, 75 years old, Randy Jones passed away. Padres legend, Padres Hall of Famer, and one of the greats in San Diego baseball, San Diego sports history. A complete game with 75 pitches. Doesn't that seem just impossible?
Unbelievable.
It seems impossible. It really does. Randy Jones was able to do it.
Real quick, it always makes me like laugh when you see these guys who pitched in the 80s, 90s, like all this stuff, who would throw 120 pitches and stuff like that. And now it's so analytical. It's like, oh, well, he's, threw 11 pitches last night. His arm's going to be sore. Like these dudes back in the day, they were chucking it and didn't care. They weren't worried about arm tightness. Like just a different breed back then.
I wish I would have texted Ernie to get this story right, but Ernie Martinez told me a story about Randy Jones one time where after the game, he literally said it was one of his quick games where he pitched 8, maybe even the whole game in under 80 pitches. And he was like, yeah, I was trying to get out of there. I had steak reservations that night. I had a dinner to get to. And so I just wanted the game to move. But he worked quick. He was called the junk man, and absolute legend passing away today. We're going to talk about Randy Jones with Coach Kentera, who knew him very well, coming up in just a little bit. Sammy, what do we have coming up next on the Big Three?
We were going to head to the Lakers. Lakers scored 140 points against the Utah Jazz. LeBron in his re-debut, 11 points, 12 assists. Just reaction to the game. How far do you think they can go with LeBron fitting into the offense well?
I didn't get to watch any of it. I was at the Aztecs game last night. How'd LeBron look? How many minutes did he play?
He was good. He only played like half the game. He closed the game. But I thought what was important, because there was a lot of, like, we had Steve Hartman come on here and talk about this, how it doesn't fit. He really adapted his game. He was not shooting the ball first. He was not a scorer first, like with the old LeBron. He was just the 12 assists were fantastic. At the end of the game, he hit LaRavia for a dunk. His basketball IQ, it was cool to see LeBron really adjust to the team versus kind of come back in and be like, I'm the man. You can tell he really just wants to go far in the playoffs and try to win a ring. And for them to do that, I'm not saying they're a favorite. Oklahoma City is a favorite, but they need him to play like that and kind of adapt to the team around him.
All right, who's number 3? What's number 3?
Let's head to college football. So college football rankings come out, but kind of a generic question. So Tulane is currently ranked 24th. They are the front runner for the group of 5 team. Right. There's been a lot of teams lose. You've had Memphis. You had like teams that kind of were thought to be that. Do you think that if a group of 5 team is not ranked in the top 12 or the top 15, they should be getting in? Because they're going to get a spot over someone who is a much better football team because of the group of 5 automatically getting a bid.
I see what you're saying, and I get it. And the fear is that a group of 5 team will get in and get their asses kicked immediately, which might happen this year. If it does feel like it's separating out a little bit. I worry about the future of college football if a group of 5 team is not included. Now, it's not capitalistic. It's not Darwinism, but it is, I think, what we need in college football, because let's face it, there's a lot of jobs relied upon across the country of programs in the group of 5. Maybe this shifts, and in 10 years we have a group of 5 playoff and a top dot or a power 5 playoff. Maybe that's what's coming. I don't know. I do think that
kind of like a relegation, like soccer, you move up and down.
I think eventually that's the type of system college football is going to go to, where you do have separate leagues. But for right now, the right way to do it is to have a group of 5 team getting in, because otherwise there's 100 schools out there who are looking around every year saying we have no shot to get to a college football playoff. Yeah. We have no shot to prove that we're the best team in the country. And let's be very clear. There have been years where there are some group of 5 teams who are as good as the teams who would be in the top 12.
You wanted to see that team, that UCF team that ran the table,
exactly,
see if they actually could do it against a program that you're like your Ohio States, your Texas, your teams like that.
And it might not be this year, but the schools in the group of 5 still deserve a shot.
I'm with you. I'm not against it, because I do like that. I do like that you have, benefits San Diego State, benefits schools that do have good football programs, that have good football teams, that simply because of their schedule are not afforded the opportunity to move up the rankings. Like if you play in the SEC, I mean, look, Texas has 3 losses and they're playing the number 3 team in the country in 2 weeks in Texas A&M. So their schedule allows them, with a couple big wins, to shoot up the rankings. It is tough when you want the best field of 12. And this is why I'm happy that they're probably going to expand even more, because it is a shame if you're leaving out a Michigan or I don't know, US. There's like a lot of schools that are probably right on the edge there that could really do something, and you're not going to get to see them in the playoff. But I also agree with you. I don't think that should come at the expense of a group of 5 school, because it is fun, kind of, even if your team's not in it, it's kind of fun to root for the group of 5 team, kind of that underdog.
Boise State last year is actually a pretty good example. Boise State hung with Oregon in the regular season. Boise State should have won that game against Oregon.
They hung with Penn State. The final score didn't really replicate it, but that was actually a pretty tight game in the fourth quarter.
Like Boise State from a year ago is one of those teams that could have gone in and made some real noise. This year, it might be a little bit different story. I don't know who that team's going to be. A couple weeks ago, we thought Tulane was knocked out of this whole conversation. Right. In fact, 2 weeks ago, we thought the Aztecs were knocked out of this conversation, and they're really not at this point when you look around the landscape of college football. So it'll be fascinating to see who gets in from the group of 5. But I don't know if this is the year that a group of 5 team is going to be able to make some noise.
Yeah.
All right, we got Coach Kentera coming up next. He's going to jump on, talk about Randy Jones. If you missed the news, Randy Jones, Padres legend, Padres Hall of Famer, passed away and at 75 years old. Coach Kentera going to talk about it coming up next. San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by Audible. Rest in peace to Randy Jones, the 1976 NL Cy Young winner and Padres Hall of Famer, has passed away at the age of 75. San Diego State loses a heartbreaker last night to Troy in double overtime. They'll be back next week taking on Michigan in a big tournament next week. And then the Bills-Texans tomorrow night, Thursday Night Football. That game will go on at 5:15. Buffalo's currently 6-point favorite. CJ Stroud has been ruled out. He will be missing his 3rd straight game with a concussion. Davis Mills will be the starting quarterback for Houston. Stuck in traffic, Audible's romance collection will have you falling fast in the slow lane, satisfy every side of you with the best-selling modern rom-coms, the hottest romantic series, and anticipated new releases. Start listening free when you sign up for a 30-day trial at audible.com.
Tonight at 6 right here on San Diego Sports 760, it's SDFC Midweek Live. Hear from the head coach, Mikey Varis, as well as interviews with players and coaches. Find out the latest club and MLS information. SDFC Midweek Live tonight at 6 right here on your home for SDFC, San Diego Sports 760. Darren Smith's going to be jumping on with us tomorrow to preview their match against Minnesota. All right, right now we do turn over to Coach Kentera. The show a little bit here because I met Randy Jones a couple of times. I had a great story from Randy Jones walking into the press box and calling everybody a-holes. And he was a great guy. He really was, who lit up a room the second he would walk in. But not too many people around San Diego knew him better than the coach. So Coach Kentera, welcome to the show. First of all, sorry for your loss, man. And sorry for San Diego's loss today with the news of Randy Jones passing coming our way.
Well, Fletch, thank you and to Sammy for having me today. Yeah. It was it's been very difficult. It's been a whirlwind day. I knew yesterday afternoon things were not headed in the right direction. I said my prayers, and I had people contacting me late last night. And then, of course, I got up this morning and got word, and then the Padres sent out a press release. But, Randy fought hard. He got that throat cancer back in 2016, and he had a variety of other issues over the last few years. He really after the throat cancer, even though it went into remission, he had a really hard time tasting food, eating, putting weight back on, and then he had some other health issues pop up. He had a really serious back surgery. I don't know, probably about a year ago now, and I've just been dealing with a lot of different things, and just very, very sad. I got so many great memories. I spent so many nights with him over the years on the air, at batting practice, in the press box, our walks to the post-game show, our walks back after the post-game show, and did a lot of things, with his foundation over the years. I emceed a lot of his events, and, we're just really, really great friends, and I think he felt the same way about me as I felt about him. We could always count on one another.
Coach, I'm curious what you remember from his playing days. I mean, we know he worked quick. We know he was the junk man. He didn't necessarily overpower you with his stuff, but he was always looking forward to getting through his pitches as quickly as possible. How about the player, Randy Jones, before we focus a little more on the man?
Well, Randy Jones, the pitcher, he was a kid that came out of Brea High School, and he worked his way through Chapman College, was a Division II All-American, got drafted by the Padres, sent him, I think, right to AA because he'd been a 4-year senior at Chapman. His first manager was the Hall of Famer Duke Snyder. And, he pitched that year, and the following year, I think he got called up. But, in 1974, he had a miserable year. He was 8-22, and, he thought he was going to get sent back to the minor leagues. And Tom Morgan was the guy that came in and took over as the pitching coach. And I remember Randy telling me numerous times over the years that, Tom Morgan really was a difference maker for him. He really made Randy work on his delivery, and he would send him down either the right or left field line and have him do 100 deliveries, without a baseball, just to work on his motion and using the right leg strength and, all the things you want to be able to repeat your delivery. And then, of course, 75 and 76, he really became the Padres' first national star. I mean, we'd had all-stars prior to that, but nobody that was going to grace the cover of Sports Illustrated like Randy did. And, Randy got the save in the 1975 All-Star game. He got the win, pitched 3 shutout innings in the 76 All-Star game. And, that happened to be, guys, my junior and senior year in high school. And they started, I think that, maybe it was, I don't know, man, it might have been 74, but right around then they started the businessman specials, and they were normally on Thursday afternoon at 1:05. And, I was never a kid that would ditch class. I always wanted to make sure I was in class. But when Randy Jones was pitching, it was a different element. I mean, the Padres, their attendance spiked when Randy pitched, and then it'd go down to 5,000 or 6,000 maybe the next day when he didn't pitch. And but the thing that people that didn't live through that era don't understand the impact that he had. He was our guy, and Randy Jones was our national guy. Everybody talked about him. Heck, Pete Rose couldn't hit him right-handed, so he turned around left-handed and tried to hit Randy because he was trying to take away that great sinker ball that he could throw to the outside part of the plate to right-hand hitters. But, the thing that I will remember most isn't only the pitching, it was the impact he had on the community and the Padre fans we had bad baseball here in San Diego. And the thing that really stands out isn't how many innings he pitched, how many complete games, how many wins, how he won the ERA title in 75. It's when he would warm up. He would walk from the first base dugout with Whitey Wiedelman, one of the Padre coaches, who, by the way, wore number 19 before Tony Gwynn did, and would walk down to the bullpen. And as he walked by the third base dugout and all the fans down there on the field level, group by group, section by section, would stand and give this man a standing ovation before he ever threw a warm-up pitch. And then he'd throw his warm-up pitches and walk back, and the same thing would happen on his way back to the dugout before the first inning got underway. And then, he really kind of ruined his arm in that 76 season where he threw all those complete games and over 300 innings. And it was never really the same. He had a couple of more years in San Diego and then got dealt to the Mets. I think he made the Mets because he was left-handed and because he was a great guy and everybody enjoyed having Randy around. But he wasn't the same pitcher after that 76 season. But then he comes back and, back in the 90s, he got the job with the Padres in the community. And, that was another legendary move that worked out very, very well for everybody involved.
Coach, I know you kind of shared a little bit of it, but I know you worked with Randy. What's one memory that kind of for air that can that sticks out to you that you think of when you think of him?
Or not for air. That might be more fun.
Well, it's hard to pick one, but I'll share two with you if I can. One night, I always had the reputation of, being, really buttoned down and straight ahead. And Randy was always the guy that wanted to have fun. And he brought a lot of fun out of me. And so one night, it's about 11:30, Padres had lost like 9-1, and I'm all bent out of shape. And we got to go to midnight because we always went to midnight on the Padre postgame show. And he goes, "Hey, let's have a little fun here with the fans. We can only break down 3 hits for so long. Padres got 3 hits that night." So we go. We came up with a guy by the name of Elmer Rapini. Elmer Rapini was a fictional outfielder that we made up that was playing double-A ball, left-hand hitter who could really run and was really rare, tearing up the Texas League. So we went on for about 5 or 6 minutes talking about this great young prospect the Padres had, Elmer Rapini. And I guarantee you, people that were listening that night probably started looking up, and there wasn't even the internet, I don't think. Well, yeah, the internet had come in by then. They were probably looking up Elmer Rapini, and if they looked up Elmer Rapini right now, they'd still be looking for him because it was a fictional character that Randy and I made up that night just to try to not have to talk about the Padres getting 3 hit that night and beat 9-1.
That's a good one, Coach. The only one I got for you is I was sitting in the press box at Petco Park, and I was sitting with Costa and Bernie Wilson, and somebody walks in the back and just screams out, "Hey, a-hole." And Costa and Bernie both flip their heads around real quick, and Randy Jones is standing there. And Randy says, "Yeah, I guess it does work for both of you guys." And it was great. But that was his personality.
That was Randy in a nutshell, Fletch. And, another one, it was in 2012, Padres were really scuffling. And I wanted to throw out the first pitch of the Padre game. That was kind of a lifelong dream. And Randy goes, "You know what? If the Padres win 5 in a row, I'll get to where you can throw out the first pitch." So about 2 weeks later, the Padres go ahead and they win actually 6 in a row. So when the ball club came home, I got to throw out the first pitch, and I got to throw it out. Buddy Black caught it. I threw a strike right down Broadway, and I wore a Randy Jones jersey that Randy gave me. He gave me one of the brown and gold jerseys with number 35 and Jones on the back. And so whenever I do wear it, I wear it very proudly because Randy, he became just a tremendous member, really, of our family. My wife loves him, and we love Marie and the girls, and my kids all know Randy. And this was a tough one today. You lose people, and as you get older, you lose more than you would like. But this one today stung in a variety of different ways. He was a guy that I really admired. when I got to watch him pitch, and then to be able to work with him and to become a friend. And, the last really good memory I have was in June. Me and Randy were very involved with the American Legion baseball program here in town, and we got the one of the two divisions are named in Randy's honor. I was the MC at opening day at West Hills High School in early June, and Randy came out, and he was struggling even back then, but he came out and we gave him a plaque, and he signed a bunch of autographs, took a bunch of pictures with a lot of the kids, and he's just a great guy. And the one thing he didn't have in his vocabulary was the word no. If he wasn't overcommitted, it wasn't a good day for Randy Jones, because he wanted to touch as many lives as he possibly could.
Well, Coach, thank you for your time today. You have that same impact on people here in San Diego. I tell you what, Coach.
Amen.
And sorry for your loss, but we'll talk to you very, very soon, Coach. Thank you for your time.
Well, thanks for having me today, you guys, and continued success and happy Thanksgiving.
You as well. All right. If you missed the news, Randy Jones passing away at the age of 75. That was Coach Kentera talking about him. Some good stuff there. I talk about Legends of San Diego. Our buddy Rich on YouTube saying Randy for sure on the Padres Mount Rushmore. And yeah, it'd be hard to argue that one. One of the best pitchers in franchise history, the first ever Cy Young winner, the first 20-game winner for the Padres as well. Randy Jones remembered today here in San Diego. It especially, maybe I wish Petco Park was open so we could all go get some Randy's barbecue, huh? It is San Diego Sports 760. We'll get to long shots on the other side. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. John and Jim will take over then. Good stuff from Coach Kentera there, talking about Randy Jones. If you missed the news, Padres lost an absolute legend today. Randy Jones at 75 years old, the 1976 National League Cy Young Award winner. We are going to get to long shots in just a second, but Sammy, do you feel very seen right now by the text line?
Yes, the text line has some great stuff. Our man Brian and a couple other people.
This is good. So 619 says, didn't see Sammy dying on the Shador Sanders Hill today. Aztecs and Broncos have broken this man. You were very passionate about Shador Sanders.
It's been a tough week for my teams, but you know what? I'm not giving up on my boys, but in terms of Shador Sanders, I believe he should get a shot. If you're the Cleveland Browns, you got to give this guy looks. He's got way more upside than Dylan Gabriel could ever dream of.
Says Sammy Long. 619, Fletch, you may have unintentionally identified that Sammy is slowly moving away and distancing himself from the Kansas City Chiefs as they start their rapid decline, and he's moving on to being the chairman of the Browns/Sanders bandwagon. The move was inevitable. Go Birds from Brian. Sammy Long, Cleveland Browns fan.
No, Brian, you're our guy. You send in fantastic texts all the time.
Chiefs missed the playoffs 1 year.
First off,
Sammy's out.
I got a whole new mindset. I was very depressed Sunday night and Monday. It's a setback for the comeback. You're seeing my boys doubted. Mahomes dropping out of top 10 quarterback rankings today and some power ranking lists I saw. Just wait. Everyone be patient for Sunday. Have your fun now.
Is that like a Drake lyric or something?
And all I'm going to say for everyone that's like, oh, they're trash, they're this or that, don't let them in.
Is that a Drake lyric?
Don't let them in as that 7th seed. Could you imagine just
oh my God, I get over it already. 484, 108 points. What in the Brian Dutcher defense happened? That was actually Dutch's first comment after the game last night. If you were listening to John Schaefer's postgame show, Dutch came on and John kind of set him up. Just, hey, what are your initial thoughts on the loss, coach? And he was like, somebody just came into Viejas Arena and scored higher than their season average on us. Troy was averaging around 87 points a game. I think they scored 92 or so in regulation. I can't remember what their regulation final was, but Dutch was pissed about that. Right, you could hear he was fuming post game.
Well, that's like the thing that when you've seen the Aztecs lose games like this before, big games, it's usually because the offense couldn't get it together. Because I mean, we know a Brian Dutcher-led team, the foundation is defense. And we know, listen, this is what happens when you have a great coach. Coach Dutcher, it's a bad loss last night. We're not running from it. It's not a good loss. Hopefully they can get back from it. But this is what separates San Diego State from a lot of other schools that you would take a loss like this is Coach Dutcher is such a good coach. He's going to get the defense wired in. If the defense is the problem going forward, San Diego State is in good hands because they'll get that wired in. That's not a concern with San Diego State. He's going to get the defense wired in. The offense was there last night. They just came out too flat early on. It was too much to come back from.
And it was the turnovers. It was points off of turnovers for Troy that really killed the Aztecs and their inability to make free throws. Both of those things, fixable problems moving forward for San Diego State. All right, let's get to the big three, or not the big three, sorry, long shots here on a Wednesday. Sammy, go ahead, smash it.
You looking for some luck? Want to win big? Gotta play big.
You are so money and you don't even know it.
Time to take a chance.
Say that to me and his man.
With long shots.
Now, Brother Fletcher had AI make him a long shots lineup. Do you even want to hear it, or are you scared of the robots?
We can hear it.
Okay, Quentin Grimes, more than 20.5 points and assists.
Okay.
Russell Westbrook, less than 14.5 rebounds and assists.
Don't like that one.
Julius Randle, more than 41.5 fantasy score. And Shaden Sharp, more than 26.5 points.
Love the Shaden Sharp pick.
You want to use any of the AI picks to go into yours?
I actually have 4 myself. I can compete against the AI for this one.
Ooh, Sammy versus the bot.
I know more than AI, guys.
I'm putting both lineups in.
My computer is an AI machine.
Your brain?
My brain.
Okay. I'm putting both lineups in. Today's going to be an expensive day for the Fletchers, but this is an experiment. Sammy versus AI.
Listen, Sammy versus AI.
This is like a Will Smith movie.
Tyler, yes. Tyler's riding with Sammy. Yes. See, you want to ride with me? I've made you money. I'm like Santa Claus. I'm giving out gifts to the children. Giving out lineups for all of San Diego to hear.
What if AI beats you?
No comment.
This is like the episode of The Office where Dwight has to go to war against the computer.
Yes. Hey, and I take Dwight 9 out of 10 times.
He did win. All right, where are you going, Sammy?
All right, we're going. This is all association parlay. Tomorrow we'll be back with Thursday Night Football. Got a lot going on. But we're going to the NBA. All right, we're going to start Cleveland, Houston. Fun game tonight. Cleveland struggled a little bit this year, though. They haven't been quite the same team that was dominated last year and then ended up losing to the Indiana Pacers. The Detroit Pistons are actually the kind of Cleveland Cavaliers of this year, winning 11 straight. But them taking on Houston tonight, I'm going to go Alperen Şengün. More than 6.5 assists. Look at the big men that they have for the Cavs. DeAndre Hunter, Evan Mobley. They are a very tall front court team, and it's led by Donovan Mitchell and then the front court. The problem for the Cavs, they need some more wing players. They need some more guards to really take some of the weight off of Donovan Mitchell. But Şengün, I think, is going to be more of a facilitator tonight, running that offense from the middle instead of a scorer. More than 6.5 assists for Alperen Şengün. All right, we're going a little bit of a revenge game. Andrew Wiggins, more than 17.5 points, playing the Golden State Warriors. Curry is out for this one tonight. He's a little bit banged up. So Jimmy Butler, they played last night. Golden State, the second night of a back-to-back. I expect Miami to actually get a victory in this one. Wiggins, though, gets traded from Golden State. He was a catalyst on why they won that 2022 championship over the Boston Celtics with his defense and scoring on the wing. More than 17.5 points against Golden State. Jimmy Butler is going to have to do too much offensively tonight to win this game. So he's going to take a little bit of a step back defensively. Wiggins going to take advantage of that. More than 17.5 points. Pelicans, Denver. Jeremiah Fears. All my college basketball fans are going to know that name. This guy, true freshman last year at Oklahoma. Fantastic season. He actually took UConn to the mat in the NCAA tournament last year. Unfortunately for him, he just didn't really have the weapons around him to sustain that. Jeremiah Fears, though, quietly has hit his over in each of the last 3 games. With all the injuries they have sustained from the Pelicans, Zion is back tonight, but that means that Jeremiah Fears at the guard spot is still going to have to lead. More than 14.5 points. He's going to be playing late into the game, even if they're getting blown out by Denver. Jeremiah Fears, more than 14.5. And last pick, going against the AI. Now, this is not my favorite player in the NBA. I'm not a Russell Westbrook guy, but more than 12.5 field goals attempted. He's playing his old team, Oklahoma City. What would be more than a Russell Westbrook performance, than he's kind of old, kind of washed, coming off the bench in Sacramento, wasting away up there, to then go put on a show against Oklahoma City? I think he's going to shoot the lights out of the ball. He has not hit his over on field goals attempts in each of the last 5 games. That changes tonight. He's got something special for his old team. So,
wow, most people would maybe go with a completely different lineup than AI if they're going directly against AI. Sammy is going head-to-head with them.
We're going right at him.
You're going with a pick that directly conflicts with the picks that AI made.
So Şengün, more than 6.5 assists. Andrew Wiggins, more than 17.5 points. Jeremiah Fears, more than 14.5 points for New Orleans. Russell Westbrook, more than 12.5 field goals attempted. Now, technically, the AI pick could hit.
Yes.
And Westbrook could hit his over on field goals attempted.
It's a lot less likely for both of them to happen. Most likely one or the other happens. All right, so
I believe in the human race. I don't believe in AI.
Let's talk about Sammy's week so far. On Sunday, Denver embarrasses the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs lose. Last night, Sammy, who went to San Diego State, is a massive Aztec fan, has to watch as San Diego State gets 108 points put on him and San Diego State loses. And today, it's Sammy versus the Machines.
Listen, it's a setback for the comeback from my Chiefs and Aztecs.
Something's got to work out for you.
It's got to flip. Listen, it can't be all this bad all the time.
It's San Diego Sports 760. We got hour number 2 coming up next. But Sammy, do you remember earlier in the show I said coming up in hour number 1, we have something special for all our listeners?
Yeah.
It wasn't just a great long shots lineup. It is also a 4-pack of tickets to SeaWorld San Diego for their Christmas celebration is what I say. You say what? If you want to go to SeaWorld San Diego with 4 tickets and bring the whole family out there, or hell, you could just go 4 times yourself. Be selfish about it. We love that. Give us a call right now, 877-767-4760. Sammy, what number?
Let's go number 14.
Number 14. You're getting a 4-pack of tickets to SeaWorld San Diego, SeaWorldSanDiego.com to buy tickets, but be caller number 14 and you can win some for free. San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
The sport's sponsored by Indeed.com. Rest in peace to the legend himself, Randy Jones. He won a Cy Young. He passed away at the age of 75. The Padres legend. Again, rest in peace. And the Saints have moved on from veteran receiver Brandon Cooks. Be interesting to see where he goes if he lands with a contender. And the Knicks are taking on Dallas today on ESPN. Dallas really struggling at 4-11. Knicks bringing a record of 8-5. That game is going at 6:30. When you're trying to find quality candidates, all the searching, screening, and interviewing can become a job itself. You need Indeed, the all-in-one platform that makes it easy to interview, screen, and hire quality people. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
San Diego Sports 760. It's hour number 2 here on the Fletch Zone. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. John and Jim will take over then. Hey, get that text line fired up. 70470. Start your message with the word team. Our fantasy football expert, Stan Lazinski, is going to be jumping on at 1:30 today to answer all of your start-sit questions about fantasy football week 12. Any sort of fantasy question you have for Stan,
Big
maybe
Stan.
Outside of like elves and wizards and stuff, but fantasy football questions. Stan's basically our wizard of fantasy football when you really think about it.
Stan is the fastest rising star here in San Diego.
Yeah, we jumped on that rocket ship early, and I have no shame in saying that. But Stan all of a sudden is skyrocketing a little bit, but we have him locked in for these weekly appearances.
Yeah.
So he's like turning down Jimmy Kimmel for us and stuff.
Oh,
which
yeah.
is good.
He ain't going nowhere.
Nowhere. Stan, you're right here. But he's coming up at 1:30, so can't wait for that. Get your questions in now on the text line 70470. Start your message with the word team. Much like the 619 did when they said, is Sammy John Connor? That's right. Sammy Long is fighting the machines. Sammy Long versus AI is a thing. Do you get the John Connor reference?
I was about to say, I know I'm going to get clowned.
Oh.
Who is John Connor?
John Connor, made famous by the Terminator movies. Sammy Long is the little boy in the first movies that Arnold Schwarzenegger ends up saving. In the second movie, John Connor is the son of Sarah Connor. And then there's some time travel stuff with the newer movies. Christian Bale actually plays John Connor in the newer movies, but John Connor.
I got to tap into that. That's my bad.
Have you never seen the Terminator movies?
I have. It's bad. It's bad. I know. I need to get on that.
T2 is one of my favorite movies ever.
Is that so? I'm curious. That's one of the movies where they think the sequel is better than the original,
yes.
Right? Okay.
Terminator 1 is it's classic in its own right, but Terminator 2, Arnold's kind of the good guy. Arnold is the good guy. Terminator 1, he's the bad guy. Terminator 2, he's the good guy. He comes back in time to save Sarah Connor.
What's the best? I'm trying to sit here and think. What movie franchise? And I promise we're gonna get to sports in a second.
Nah, maybe
is the sequel better than the original? Like I would say, you could argue
Shrek 2 might be better than Shrek 1.
American Pie 2 is actually funnier than American Pie 1.
Maybe funnier, but not as good. Like more punchlines, yes, but the first one is just perfect.
Like I'm Star Wars, I'm a New Hope guy, even over Empire Strikes Back. I know that's controversial.
Yeah. I mean, if we think about it, Phantom Menace is really the best Star Wars ever made. So
what?
I'm kidding about that. That's called rage baiting.
I like that movie. I like that movie more than a lot of people, but saying it's the best Star Wars ever is wild.
Empire is the best Star Wars ever. It's not even close. But we can talk about that another day. What I will say, Shrek 2 is fantastic if you haven't seen it.
Is Godfather 2 better than Godfather 1?
Some people will say so. I don't know that I would say so.
For money.
When you think about the Fantastic Four franchise, the one that came out maybe 15, 20 years ago, Silver Surfer was better than the first one. The Jessica Alba ones I'm talking about.
For various reasons. But I'm just curious, text line. Let us know. Name what's a movie that the sequel's better than the original? 70470. Start your message with team. Also send us fantasy football questions.
22 Jump Street was pretty damn good. 21 Jump Street, not as good.
That's okay. 22
Jump Street has the scene where I laughed harder than any other scene in any movie I've ever been in a theater.
His daughter?
In a theater, I've never been on the floor laughing as hard as I was when it's Schmidt, the captain's daughter, and Channing Tatum's running around the whole thing. I literally, Sammy, I could not get off the ground in the theater because I was dying.
No, this is not happening right now.
And the little, like the sound effect when it clicks in his brain that it was Jonah Hill getting it on with Ice Cube's daughter was the funniest moment in a theater I've ever had in my life.
And the best is when they're meeting the parents and he goes, Maya, what table you want? And he goes, how's your classes going? Doug.
Oh, it's so good. All right. Well, let's get to the big three of hour number 2, I guess. So we were going to talk about that Aztecs loss some more, but the big three sounds more fun and movies were a lot more fun too. Sammy, smash it.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? Coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big Three.
619. Wow, he doesn't even know the Terminator references. All right, back to the deep referenes.
It's bad. I know. I apologize.
Sammy, if you talk to him about like 70s and 80s rock, he knows everything.
I'm a movie buff. That's one movie. It's funny. I was talking to someone about this yesterday, my friend. I was like, that's the one movie.
The Dark Knight's better than Batman Begins.
Yes.
Not even close.
Very, very good point.
Not even close.
Not even
the same.
Not even
Dark
close.
Knight is like one of the best.
Now,
movies
shout out
ever.
to Cillian Murphy, but not even close. He's just gassing people. It's kind of like, dude, like this is annoying.
Right. All right. Where do you want to go with the big three here, Sammy?
Let's go back to last Sunday. So JJ McCarthy has another rough outing. It's the Chicago Bears. 2 interceptions on the day. There's, per reports, they're not going to bench him for their undrafted free agent who is currently backing him up. But there's been some talk, some rumors. Kevin O'Connell didn't really shut it down post-game of him potentially not finishing the season. Would you let JJ McCarthy finish the season? And is it too early to say he's a bust?
I think you have to let him finish the season, but it's not too early for us to call him a bust. The Vikings owe it to him to let him finish out the season, and he owes it to the Vikings to be better. Look, he was given the keys to a Ferrari of sorts. Like Justin Jefferson is one of your wide receivers. No matter who has been throwing the ball to Justin Jefferson, all he's done is rack up insane amounts of yardage and insane amounts of touchdowns on the year. But we're seeing it play out right in front of us. The pass last week, I can't remember the name of the cornerback, but a wildly underthrown pass from J.J. McCarthy to Justin Jefferson, where Justin Jefferson put one of the silkiest moves ever on a little double move, heading for the end zone, was wide open. All J.J. McCarthy had to do was put it on him. He underthrew it by about 5 yards, interception going back the other way. So it's a problem right now what the Vikings have at their quarterback position, and it really makes you think they couldn't pay $100 million for Sam Darnold, who had that offense cooking last year.
It looks bad.
It looks horrible. And unfortunately, it's a bad look for KOC. I know it's the head coach. He doesn't make the personnel decisions, but he influences the personnel decisions. So if he was standing at the front of the room saying, you got to give me a season with JJ, I'm telling you, this kid's special. He's not, at least not so far. But we were patient on Caleb Williams, and that worked out. You almost have to treat this as JJ McCarthy's rookie season.
Did you just praise Caleb Williams?
He's looking better. Now, I will say this was another classic Chicago Bears 2025 game.
Yeah.
Like they lost that game 2 or 3 times.
Hey, shout out to the Bears. They keep winning. Top of the division. In terms of JJ McCarthy,
somehow this pick is going to work out in Sammy's favor.
I tried to tell everyone the Bears were going to win the division.
It makes no sense.
Just, you got to read between the tea leaves, Ben. Shout out to Caleb in Chicago. Anyway, JJ McCarthy. Listen, it's hard to call him a bust yet. I don't see it. I didn't see it out of college. Again, I always go back to the stat. I know he won the national championship. The final 7 games of the season in his run with Michigan, he did not have more than 1 touchdown pass in any of those games. Michigan had an all-time defense, excellent running game, great offensive line, and McCarthy was good. He had some really big games against Ohio State, but looking at those games, a lot of those big plays, he had 3 touchdowns, I believe, in the one big upset against Ohio State, all off play action. Guys running wide open. It wasn't him breaking down a defense. They're asking him to break down a defense now, and it just isn't really working out. I don't want to bash Kevin O'Connell because I like Kevin O'Connell, San Diego State guy, and what he's been able to do with that franchise. It's a very well-run organization. But this is a little, okay, I made it work with Kirk. I made Kirk look like a damn MVP candidate. Then I make Sam Darnold look like an MVP candidate. It feels a little like whatever I do turns to gold, so we're going to go with the bold play and take J.J. McCarthy, the guy who was the most not refined skill set coming out of college. I know he dealt with an injury, and I'm going to make him a star. And I feel like, it looks like it's backfiring right now. Sam Darnold's got the Seahawks humming, going to the postseason, going to be a threat in the postseason. And it just feels like you had a lottery ticket in your hand. You didn't cash it. You went with the even longer odds. And I don't know if it's working out, but we'll see if a couple years from now he's able to get it together.
All right, so we throw out like some really thoughtful sports questions on a daily basis to the text line. One movie question, the entire thing's filled up. We'll get to them on the other side, but keep them coming in.
Yes.
What movie sequel is better than the original? Golly, man.
I love the text line.
50 just came in.
Yeah.
Unreal.
The text line's back up.
Sammy, what's next?
So ESPN, let's head to Major League Baseball. ESPN and Major League Baseball reach new 3-year
But
media
also
rights.
your fantasy football questions. Like Stan Lazinski's coming up, and he's expecting a bunch of questions. And right now we just have a bunch of, you could actually make an argument of which Dark Knight trilogy movie is the best. No, you can't. It's The Dark Knight. It's the best acting performance of our lifetimes.
We want fantasy football questions or bold movie predictions.
Like Heath Ledger in a superhero movie delivered the best acting performance
that's
of my
not
lifetime.
debatable.
Not even close.
We'll get to that in a minute, but that's not even debatable.
What's next?
ESPN and Major League Baseball have reworked the deal, a new 3-year media rights agreement, obviously with the lockout probably upcoming next season, but it will also include NBC and Netflix will air games as part of a new 3-year media rights agreement, so they will get that. NBC and Peacock will become the home of Sunday Night Baseball, kind of taking over like they're doing with the NBA. Are you excited to see MLB move to NBC and Netflix?
Tell me they're not giving Alex Rodriguez a job. Or is it the whole crew staying?
They're on Fox.
I thought A-Rod was part of that crew on...
He's on Fox.
Oh, you're right.
A-Rod's on Fox with Jeter and Big Papi and Burkhart.
Who's on the ESPN one?
Oh my God. What's his name? Oh, Carl Ravitch.
Yeah, Carl's good.
And then Eduardo Perez.
Eduardo Perez. I mean, this is kind of a nothing burger for me. We'll see. Sunday Night Baseball, cool. The Dodgers are going to be on it 45 times
The Sunday Night Baseball crew drives me crazy. I actually love the Fox guys. I really enjoy Jeter, A-Rod, and Big Papi.
A-Rod can, leave forever.
Big Papi is one of my favorite media personalities.
Great. And I love it when they prank him and they put vodka in his glass. That's funny. That's hilarious. Papi's really good. Jeter's good enough. A-Rod can kick rocks.
I'm kind of excited. I think baseball needs a little bit of a mix-up for this in terms of ESPN is the Sunday Night Baseball crew has just felt like the least exciting of all the major sports leagues in terms of the national game. I'm kind of happy they're mixing it up. I think it's could use it for a long time. And yes, I see the text line. And
they're telling you about Paw Patrol movies because they're 4 years speed than Terminator.
Text line.
Sammy's all about Paw Patrol, dude.
I am excited for a little bit of a mix-up here.
How about some Power Rangers?
I'm glad they're going in a little bit different direction, but we'll see how it goes. All right, story number 3 before we get to all these movie texts. Big news out of the fight world. So Jake Paul was originally supposed to fight Gervonta Tank Davis. Okay, Gervonta Tank Davis, domestic dispute. That fight got canceled. He is now fighting former heavyweight champion of the world, Anthony Joshua, and this is not an exhibition.
What?
This is not an exhibition. This is not a gimmick fight. It is a sanctioned 8-round fight, 3 minutes a round, 10-ounce gloves. Currently, Jake Paul is almost a 10-1 underdog to win this fight. A, what's your interest in it? But number 2, do we have to give Jake Paul credit for actually taking a massive risk in his boxing career?
Okay. Now, Sammy, you're much more in tune with the boxing world than I am. However, I do know Anthony Joshua is an absolute killer. Joshua
beat Klitschko.
Anthony Joshua can kick the crap out of Jake Paul 10 days to Sunday.
Yes.
But is this a real fight? Because how many times is it Tommy Fury against Logan Paul was a real fight? Right?
No, Tommy Fury fought Jake Paul. Logan Paul and Mayweather was a joke. That was an exhibition.
But the Tommy Fury, that was Jake Paul. I'm getting the brothers confused here, but that was a sanctioned fight, right? And that one was actually, both guys were trying to tee off on each other.
Right, that was a real fight.
So is this going to be that, or is this going to be the stupid Mike Tyson fight?
I think it's a real fight, and I'm going to tell you why. It's a sanctioned fight. So if Anthony Joshua were to lose, there's not an exhibition where he can dance around the ring. There's not a winner or a loser, but it's a sanctioned fight where if he loses, this will go against his record. He will have a loss to Jake Paul in his record. Anthony Joshua would. So you talk about humiliating. This is a guy who wants to set up the heavyweight title fight that everyone's always, or not title fight, but heavyweight fight that everyone's wanted to see for a long time. Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. But I got it. Listen, I'm not a Jake Paul guy. I hope he gets knocked the F out on December 19th on Netflix.
I mean, I think he will.
He should.
Anthony Joshua.
He better. I will give Jake Paul credit for this, though. Logan Paul doesn't take the sport seriously. That's a joke. Jake Paul has taken the sport seriously. He's now fighting a guy where he doesn't have a massive size advantage, who has a way bigger skill advantage. So kudos to Jake Paul. If he lasts 3 rounds or 4 rounds, he's going to win. Like, it's not really it's a no-lose situation for Jake Paul. He's going to make a bunch of money. If he can win a couple rounds, he's going to gain all the respect in the world. and it's going to be an event that everyone will be rooting for Jake Paul to get knocked out. And if he wins, it will, no joke, be one of the biggest upsets in sports history, and that's not hyperbole.
All right. This show is going very differently than I thought it was going to go. Look, we opened up the show today talking about Randy Jones, the first ever Padres Cy Young winner who passed away at the age of 75. This is a sad day around San Diego. And I'm glad that we could bring some laughs to the text line today because this is getting downright
the text line
outrageous.
Some of the stuff that is being sent in right now, I keep them coming.
Keep them coming. 70470. Start your message with team. We will get to all of them. The question we threw out there, we got a fantasy football expert, one of the best ones in the country, coming up in 15 minutes to answer your fantasy football questions. But if you are content on doing this, B level questions are: was there a movie sequel that was better than the original? Let us hear it on the text line. 70470. Start your message with team. Aztecs tickets coming up a little bit later in the show today. Stan Lazinski coming up as well at San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. going to launch something here. Sammy Long's never seen Terminator or Terminator 2. You don't really need to worry about the ones that came out this century. Terminator 2 might have been early 2000s.
Is this the one? Wait, this is the one where you like get to the chopper.
No, that's
Predator.
Predator, yeah.
Okay.
Or maybe even Commando. I get the Arnold movies from the late 80s, early 90s confused, but they're all kind of the same. However, the Terminator movies stand alone, and T2 is one of my favorite movies ever. But T2, that's the soundtrack you just heard. The doo-doo-doo-doo. It's awesome, man. And you should absolutely go home and watch both T1 and T2 today. That's Sammy Long's homework for tonight. But on the text line, your homework was to ask us fantasy football questions, and instead, you have been saying nonstop which sequels to movies are better than their originals.
I'm excited for this.
So let's rip through these real quick. 858 says Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man's Chest is low-key equal, if not greater than the original.
Ooh, The Curse of the Black Pearl?
Do you fear death, Jax?
I don't.
Sparrow.
Listen, I
love all three of those movies.
They're all great,
the trilogy,
but I think
the ones made after the trilogy kind of suck in my opinion.
I don't know
the
if we
original
can,
three.
like The Curse of the Black Pearl when he escapes in the first one. Like I don't know if we can really. Dead Man's Chest. That's a bold take.
Dead Man's Chest is a damn good movie too. I really like all the.
You do have Davy Jones in that one though, so
yeah. 760 original Superman movies. 2 is much better than 1.
okay.
I'll be honest. Those have all gotten like one watch in my lifetime. I have not gone back to them.
I tried to watch that when I was a little kid, and then because they used to do the intros, the like 10-minute intros with all the credits at the beginning, and I was like, this is a tough watch at the beginning, but then it got a lot better.
619. One could argue which of the Dark Knight trilogy movies was the best. One cannot. Look,
What is he saying? Is he saying Dark Knight Rises is better?
so Batman Begins is a good movie, but it can kind of get thrown out of the discussion. Like it was very much introducing you. Liam Neeson's character was kind of goofy. Dark Knight is quite literally my favorite movie ever that I've ever seen.
Dark Knight is definitely, but now
I will never forget the day in 2008 or 2009 where my brother and I went to see The Dark Knight. We ran into a friend in the lobby of the AMC theaters in Merced, California, who had smuggled in a bunch of In-N-Out into the movie theater. So I was munching on In-N-Out, watching what I didn't know at the time, but I know now was my favorite movie going
like a magical experience.
It's like the best, one of the best days of my life.
I will say this though, and I'm with you. Dark Knight's the best. I saw Dark Knight Rises way too young in a Seattle IMAX theater front row when Bane comes in that plane and they in the first scene. And then they were all down in the sewers.
See, because here's the argument: the opening scene to Dark Knight Rises might be better than any individual scene in The Dark Knight. The plane scene.
Can I make an embarrassing admission?
Go ahead.
I was like 8 or 9 when I saw that, and because they all worked in the sewers and that's where they came out, I was kind of scared to go to the bathroom for a little while because I thought that Bane was gonna like recruit me down there.
It's a good thing you didn't watch it when you were 8 or 9 years old because the sewers would have made you a lot more scared. 619 Back to the Future 2 is better than the original.
Wow.
That's a hot take. And I Googled it to make sure it's a hot take because when I saw that in my mind, I'm thinking no shot. But then I Googled it and they said, well, most people would say Back to the Future, the original is better. There are a lot of flaws in Back to the Future when it comes to the space-time continuum, and they never really address them. But Back to the Future 2 is a better overall no plot hole storyline.
Okay.
Back to the Future 2.
You also don't have Huey Lewis in the news though in that one.
Back to the Future 2 also has Biff getting the sports almanac and going back and betting all the sports. That's how he gets super
Very
rich.
true.
Which, let's all be honest, we would do the exact same
100%.
thing.
I would be rolling at Circa.
619 here, Sammy. Let me give you a movie a little more your speed since you don't like Terminator. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is a sequel better than the original. Actually, the 2 animated Spider-Man movies that have come out over the last 10 years are fantastic.
It's funny. I haven't seen those, but I've seen obviously all the Spider-Mans.
You should watch the animated ones that have come
I've heard
out.
they're great.
They're really, really good. 619 also saying, here, Sammy, let me give you a movie a little more your speed. Paw Patrol 1 is better than Paw Patrol 2. I'll be honest, I haven't seen any of the Paw Patrol movies, but that's very funny. 619 Godfather 2 better than Godfather.
That's something I can get with.
A lot of people say that. 619 Mad Max Fury Road and the Dune remakes blow away the original. Yet remakes a little different than sequels.
Right. Like, because Dune, obviously the new Dune's better than the old Dune.
Yeah, the old Dune was a joke.
Right. So we have to separate that out. But again, I think my number one, I think I'm gonna go American Pie 2 is better than American Pie. I think it's funnier. Like in terms of like, I'm gonna sit there and laugh. I think it's a better movie.
Do we have any more movie ones on here? 858. Sorry, not sorry, but I kind of like Jared Leto as the Joker in Suicide Squad. Of course, Heath is the best Joker.
Interesting.
Yeah, if we're ranking Jokers, Jared Leto is going near the bottom for me.
I think the real question though is who's the best Spider-Man?
Toby for me because I grew up with him.
Of course, Toby.
But
all you need to know
Tom
is
Holland's a pretty close second. Andrew Garfield's definitely last.
that's first off, I don't get the Andrew Garfield disrespect. Andrew Garfield
He's a fine Spider-Man. The movies he were in were directed terribly and they weren't very good.
Jamie Foxx, the second one.
Yeah, but
I
Jamie
get it.
Foxx was a joke in that movie.
No,
He was so
never
over
disrespect Jamie Foxx.
That is the worst acting Jamie Foxx has ever done in his career.
No.
Not even close.
I will
It's
not hear
even
Jamie
close.
Foxx slander on this show.
I love Jamie Foxx. His character in Horrible Bosses is one of I love that character, Mother Effa Jones.
Mother Effa Jones.
But Jamie Foxx, I think, is fantastic. Jamie Foxx as Electro or whatever his name was in that Spider-Man movie was awful.
858 with a fantastic call. Rush Hour 2, better than the original. Listen,
Never touch a black man's radio.
Chris Tucker doing Michael Jackson at the beginning. I don't know if you can beat that.
The Rush Hour movies are pretty perfect also. Man, this is fun. Look, we all needed this today. A San Diego icon lost his life. Randy Jones passing away. Glad we could all have some fun here on the text line. All right, coming up next, our fantasy football expert.
Football questions next.
There's 9 million of those texts as well. So we'll get to all of them here on the other side with Stan Lazinski next. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
This sport is sponsored by Straight Talk Wireless. The legend himself, Randy Jones, former Cy Young winner, has passed away at the age of 75. The Padre legend, rest in peace. Steve Sarkisian, head coach of Texas football, says he is not going anywhere amid rumors he might be looking elsewhere. And the Saints have moved on from veteran receiver Brandon Cooks after he clears waivers. Be interesting to see where he ends up. Don't let data limits hold you back from being the GIF master, the GIF master in the family group chat. Switch to Straight Talk Wireless and get real unlimited data on Verizon's 5G network. Straight Talk, available at straighttalk.com or Walmart.
San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock. John and Jim will take over then. We got a million fantasy football questions, so we'll get right to Stan Lazinski. I did just want to point something out here, though, Sammy. Mark Wahlberg just opened up a restaurant in San Diego.
Right. I've been to that restaurant a gazillion times.
I thought it just opened.
No. I'm saying I know that area very well. It's taking over for a Miguel's.
Right, which is a famous, long-standing spot in San Diego. But the new place is called Fletch. And he didn't even think to talk to me about it.
First off,
come on, Marky Mark, what are you doing?
Marky Mark, baby, we gotta get Mark on the show.
I could have been part of the Funky Bunch. I could have been the bunch.
It's not too late.
His place is called Fletch.
That needs to get linked up immediately.
One letter away from my last name. This could be the Fletcher Zone presented by Fletcher and Mark Wahlberg. That's exactly what it could be. All right. Stan Lazinski is joining us. DynastyPriceCheck.com. Dynasty Price Check all over social media. Hi, Stan. How are you?
I'm doing great, Ben. Dealing with a little Montezuma's revenge after my Mexico stint. But you know what? We're recovering and we're ready to bang some fantasy football questions out for you guys.
That sounds hot. All right. Well, let's get it going. Stan, 858 texting and saying, I got Bucky Irving or Sean Tucker or DeAndre Swift this week for my flex.
Well, I don't think I can trust Bucky Irving just yet. And Sean Tucker, he flashed last week. Absolutely. There's no denying that. But I actually am going to take DeAndre Swift this week against all odds. I know people were a little worried about him with the touch split with Kyle Monangai, but fact of the matter is he's still seeing the lion's share of the carries, and I can trust Swift as an upside flex play or RB2 option here.
Stan 980 says, I got Amon-Ra, Devontae Adams, and Rome Odunze. Should I sit any of them for Michael Wilson with Marvin Harrison Jr. not playing on Sunday?
Nah, let's not forget the old adage, guys. Start your studs, all right? If you got big name players that are giving you good production this season, don't overthink it. Don't get too cute with the matchup game.
313, A.J. Brown, Travion Henderson, or Rome Odunze at my flex spot this week.
Oof, I don't like it because I can't trust A.J. Brown. I got a good feeling that Mike Vrabel is going to be tugging our chain again and throwing Ramondre Stevenson back into the mix and messing up the Travion Henderson owners' day. So I think I'm going to lean Rome Odunze. And what am I, suddenly a Chicago Bears man over here telling you to play DeAndre Swift and Rome Odunze? I never thought I'd see the day.
847's asking Darnold versus Tennessee or Brissett versus Jacksonville and possibly keeping long-term. Says he has Bo Nix on the bench this week.
Well, here's what I'm going to say. I think Jacoby Brissett has been a guy that you really can't ignore right now. He's been giving you top 10 quarterback production ever since he got the starting role. And I do expect that to continue this week against a Jacksonville team that's let up quite a handful of yards in the previous outings. However, Sam Darnold, seeing ghosts last week, letting my Seattle Seahawks down, throwing 4 interceptions, now finds himself against a very easy matchup in the Tennessee Titans. I got a feeling the Seattle Seahawks team is going to come back with a fury and try to put a statement out after the performance of last week. I'm going to tell you to play Sam Darnold this week.
All right. Stan Lazinski joining us. He's our fantasy football expert. Text line from the 858 saying it's Stan the man. Yeah. Check him out. DynastyPriceCheck.com or Dynasty Price Check on social media. 678 Stan texting in saying, do I trade Rashee Rice and Brian Thomas Jr. for Chase Brown and DK Metcalf?
No, I can't be moving off Rashee Rice for that price. Quite frankly, Rashee Rice looks like a locked and loaded wide receiver 1 for the rest of the season here. And at this point, I just don't think that package is good enough. DK has been an unfortunate letdown.
317's asking Nico for Chase Brown in Dynasty. Do you like it?
No, I don't like that either. I mean, I like it if I'm getting the Nico Collins side. Absolutely. I think Chase Brown obviously has come back to life here and this Bengals offense looks back on track. However, the wide receivers just hold far better value insulation during the dynasty offseason. I don't want to be stuck holding the running back going into his potentially second contract here. And so I'd rather just hold Nico Collins and wait for the value to spike on him again.
530 texting in a question I also have, Stan, because I have Jordan Love in Dynasty, and 530 is saying, how do you feel about Jordan Love long-term in Dynasty? Is he a hold or is he a sell?
You know, Jordan Love's an interesting one, and I think it's a topic that is going to be up for a lot of discussion this offseason, depending on where the Packers end up finishing, right? But I think he's a hold in Dynasty. I'm not actively trying to move off of him. However, if you can use Jordan Love in a tier up or potentially still capitalize on buying guys maybe like Jackson Dart or Daniel Jones or Sam Darnold that are undervalued in Dynasty right now and get something kicked back to you on top of it by sending Jordan Love away, I think that's a process move that definitely should be explored.
845 is wondering, should I start Hunter Henry this week or Kyle Pitts?
Ooh, don't love those options for you, but to be completely frank, I am going to go with Hunter Henry here. I can't be trusting Kyle Pitts with old man Kirk Cousins here. And I think for that reason alone, I'm going to be leaning the Hunter Henry side. Drake May is playing at an MVP level.
Darnell Mooney or Parker Washington off of waivers this week?
Oh, man. Those are some two deep cuts. I think I'm going to tell you to go Parker Washington over Darnell Washington, although over Darnell. Oh, it was Darnell Mooney. Actually, yeah. I'll give you Darnell Mooney, man. We'll go Darnell Mooney here. You know, we've been seeing some resurgence from the Darnell Washington lovers over in Pittsburgh as well. So, you know, a lot of Washingtons thrown around here.
For sure. 858, different number asking, Stan, would you have Montezuma's revenge for an entire season to guarantee your team a Super Bowl win or nah?
And that might be the best question of the day, fellas. This is going to show my commitment to my Seahawks. I would gladly welcome Montezuma into my
That's a real fan right there.
Here,
well, see, Sammy,
for one Super Bowl in exchange.
So I actually think I would too for the 49ers.
I would 100%
had like 5 Super Bowls in the last 5 years.
I would 100% be, you know, in a hospital week in, week out for the Chiefs getting another Super Bowl.
Just getting regular visits to the IV place. All right, we got the 314 asking, Stan, should I trade Kenneth Walker for a second round pick and Kenneth Walker and a second round pick for CMC?
Yeah, I think if you're a contending roster in Dynasty, this is a smash accept. I think Christian McCaffrey is playing at a top level right now. I am not seeing too much signs of slowing down. You're potentially going to get another really good year out of Christian McCaffrey here. And although Kenneth Walker definitely will see a value spike in the offseason when he signs a nice little extension, whether it be in Seattle or somewhere else, I'm willing to make this deal just to guarantee myself a championship.
205 is asking, should I start Michael Wilson from the Cards, Quinshon Judkins for the Browns? Browns play the Raiders, and they held Javonte Williams under 100 rushing yards and no touchdowns last week.
Well, here's the thing. I could see that logic train, but I'm going to tell you to start Quinshon Judkins. My man's a dog out here. He's running through folks left and right. I'm unfazed. Plug him and play him.
847, Jacoby Brissett or Bo Nix this week?
Oof. This is the time. I'm going to flip-flop. I'm going to tell you, it's Jacoby Brissett season, guys. I cannot trust what I've seen out of Denver's offense so far. That defense is carrying them. Are the Denver Broncos on fraud watch? They absolutely are for me. If this defense doesn't play at a top level, they ain't going anywhere in the playoffs.
217 is asking a dynasty or a 2-quarterback league traded Matthew Stafford for Emeka Egbuka. They also have Mahomes and Jalen Hurts. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I got no issue with this one. I think Egbuka is an up-and-coming young talent that I would love to have more pieces of in my dynasty leagues.
Stan, and then a generic question. How did you feel about your Seahawks last week? Just losing by 2, but you know, Darnold those 4 picks, but in it at the end. How you feeling about them the rest of the way out?
Yeah, you know, to be completely frank, man, I could not be more thrilled coming off that performance. And I know that sounds crazy, right? Your quarterback throws 4 picks. Sam Darnold looks like he's seeing ghosts left and right. Wouldn't you be discouraged? Well, like you said, the defense looks elite. The Seattle defense could take you all the way in a deep playoff run, and I do think there'll be better days for Sam Darnold. Obviously, Sean McVay had his number on this one, but I just wanted a close game. I wanted to prove that we could ride with the best of them, and honestly, there are so many things in that game. If you look back, If that punt doesn't land on the 1 yard line, I think we win that game. If that Kenneth Walker touchdown doesn't get called back for a holding call, I think we win that game. And that's even with turning the ball over 4 times. So quite encouraged by what I saw out of my Seahawks. It's going to take a hell of a lot more than a few interceptions to turn the volume dial down on my hype train.
Oh, all of a sudden the Mariners have a good year. The Seahawks are on fire. Stan Lazinski is a huge Seahawks fan. It's okay. 619 saying the more interesting question for Stan today has nothing to do with fantasy football, but it has to do with what he had for dinner that caused his stomach issue. The current Vegas line has it plus 100 that it was some type of seafood enchilada. That coming from our buddy Brian. Stan?
Damn, Brian is killing this one, my friend. I do believe it was the shrimp ceviche out there, so the seafood's going to take it, boys.
Well, how'd it go? Because you were MC in a wedding, right? You were officiating.
Did you have it? Did you have it before the wedding or after?
Luckily, I had it right after the wedding, but my sister unfortunately caught it right before her ceremony. And let me tell you, it was quite the wedding day scramble as she was running in and out of her room right before our ceremony as we waited in the wings. But luckily, everything went swimmingly. It was a beautiful sunshine day on a rooftop villa in Mexico. And your boy got the ceremony done nice and clean, like always. For all your wedding needs, dynastypricecheck.com, guys.
It doesn't sound nice and clean after Montezuma's revenge.
Yeah, tell me your sister wasn't the bride in this wedding, was she?
Oh, she was the bride.
Oh,
sir.
my God. That is nightmare material. Oh, Stan.
It was. We all felt quite bad for her. She was a true trooper.
That's crazy. Yeah, I think back to my wedding day. If we added that into the mix, I don't think I'd be married right now.
That's a story right there.
Stan Lazinski, you're the best, bro. We got a bunch of texts we didn't get to. I'm sorry. Stan, are you going live again today at some point that people can ask these questions?
You know what? We're live right now, live streaming the whole show. Thank you guys for coming along. My viewers, along with yours, had a fantastic time getting to experience the true excitement that is San Diego Sports 760. So thank you guys so much for having me. As always, we'll see you next week. And hop on over to the live stream right now after you guys are done on the radio here. And I'll keep ripping these questions all day for you.
Love it. DynastyPriceCheck.com, Dynasty Price Check on social media. Go check Stan out there. Thank you, Stan. Appreciate you, brother. We'll talk to you next week.
Absolutely, guys. Take care.
All right, there you go. Stan the man. We love him. Montezuma's revenge, no fun. No fun at all, but he powers through for fantasy football, which is the most 2025 thing you could ever say. All right, take a quick break here. San Diego Sports 760. We got some Aztecs football tickets for us to give away right now. So 877-767-4760. San Diego State playing against San Jose State this weekend. Snapdragon Stadium. If you want to go, caller number 8 is going to the game. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760. We are celebrating the season here with the iHeartRadio Holiday Special. One night to get you in the holiday spirit with exclusive performances from the Goo Goo Dolls, Gwen Stefani, Lady A, Megan Trainor, and more. Listen to the show Wednesday, November 26th at 4 p.m. on Holiday Seasons Radio on our free iHeartRadio app. All right, it's been kind of a weird day here in San Diego. It started off with the news that Randy Jones had passed away, a Padres icon, a San Diego icon who's been an ambassador with the club ever since his retirement from baseball. Randy Jones barbecue at Petco Park is an absolute staple here in San Diego, and Randy Jones himself was an absolute staple here in San Diego and will continue to be so. We had a great chat with Coach Kentera about it. If you missed it, it's on the podcast. Just go to the free iHeartRadio app and search the Fletch Zone. I would highly recommend listening to our chat with Coach, who essentially, I mean, outside of maybe 45 seconds of me and Sammy, talked uninterrupted about his relationship with Randy Jones, about the past of Randy Jones. And it was really powerful stuff, man. So if you missed any of that, go check it out on the podcast a little bit later on, as well as our chat with Stan Lazinski, who was battling through stomach illness and chaos.
Montezuma's revenge.
Be here on the air with us today, delivering some fantasy football news. It was good stuff with Stan as well. John and Jim are coming up in just a little bit. Now, Sammy, you and I don't think this really impacts us, but it is going to happen in San Diego. You're not a big WWE guy, are you?
I don't know much about it. No.
Me neither. But all of a sudden, social media is blowing up because I guess John Cena, one of his final matches ever, is actually going to be here in San Diego.
Really? Where, at Petco?
At Petco Park. So it's November 29th. This news broke a few months ago that Petco Park was going to host the Survivor Series event. But John Cena is going to be fighting someone named Dirty Dom. Dirty Dom's a great name for a wrestler. However, I don't really know who that is, but I do know in the WWE world, this is a huge deal and it wasn't expected. But John Cena just got added to the card at San Diego.
I think the real question that everyone's asking is, so Jim and Brent are going to want to spend 4 hours talking about this. Will John Schaefer let them mention it coming up? How many times over under? So how many segments they have? 16?
Something like that.
So how many segments will there be WWE talk?
I'd imagine probably just a couple. I don't think John lets it get away too much from that. Like, look, obviously the main focus on John Schaefer's mind right now is San Diego State lost that basketball game last night. That dude's been refreshing Ken Pom all day.
And Jim Russell's like, bro, is he going to like suplex his ass?
Yes, I guess. Is that what happens in WWE?
That's the move. That's where they go off the top rope, right? And
I wish I liked WWE because people who like it freaking love it and it consumes them. I wish I had that level of commitment to it. Like it's how I treat the NFL and the 49ers is how people talk about the WWE. And yeah. I just have never been able to.
I just wish it was real.
See, but I think that plays a part of it. I don't think people really care. Speaking of the Aztecs, by the way, that loss against Troy last night, I'm actually kind of shocked. It didn't drop them nearly as low in Ken Pom as I thought it would. I thought that was going to be a 20-point drop. They went from 30 to 38. So we'll see how that sticks. But essentially with a win over Michigan, you would think that essentially wipes out the loss to Troy. We'll see. John Schaefer will have a lot more on that. Jim Russell will have a lot more on John Cena. All that's coming up next on John and Jim. Sammy, good work. See you later, everybody.